taunted a bull. It was really interesting because they encouraged participation.
Right. Well, these days that's unheard of, I guess. Well, maybe not down there.
Yeah. It's getting fewer. It's not.
Is that area becoming very Americanized, touristy?
Yeah, I don't even want to use the word Americanized. It's Westernized because it's not just Americans that are doing it. It's people from
All over.
Yeah. Anybody with money can go down there and start a. And it's really weird because the Ticos, the natives there, they're still working for $1, $2 an hour, but all the most, I don't want to say all, most of the businesses are being run by expatriates, and yeah, it's a pretty popular trend, and it's one of those things that how do you how do you hate those people for doing that too? It's like, I got a lot of money, I'm gonna go live on a beach and live it up, and you can start a business down there and live really well for very cheap, for $15,000 a year. Where here it's poverty, but there it's fucking good.
But it's not as cheap as it used to be.
Right. Oh yeah. But it's still
cheap.
Still cheap compared to what we're.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go down there and buy a house for $30,000-$40,000, but it's a much you gotta have cash now. it's a little bit different, but still, you go down there as a tourist, and you're gonna live really well. You're gonna have a good 2 weeks, and it's much different than if you're gonna go spend 2 weeks in Colorado.
Right.
You're gonna spend way more money in Colorado than you will and plane tickets aren't even that much different. It's not that much expensive to get there. I know that went way far. I don't even remember what your original question was.
But besides the observation that you made on a town, you did research. I mean, where did you learn that bulls turn to the right or can't turn to the right? Forget the line.
They can't make sharp turns?
Yeah, like they can't make sharp turns. Where did you learn shit like that? I mean, did you just pick that up along the way and then it ends up in the book? Or did you actually, when you were writing up the scene, did you say, I need some incredible...
Wikipedia that shit.
Okay, that was my question.
How'd you hear about Pablo's, the burger place?
I went and ate there. I'm gonna get back to his real quick though. It really was, and when you look at the acknowledgments, probably doesn't want me to say it. He's not here now, but Dr. Joseph's at the University of West Florida.
Okay, yeah.
And I've taken Hemingway classes with him.
Right.
And I was really reading Hemingway for a lot. And Scott cut out on that. He asked my influences on. And I gave him a really long list.
Yeah.
But I said if I had to narrow it down, it'd probably be Hemingway. So he cut it down to Hemingway. So
that's what I read in there.
So he cut out,
well, that wouldn't be more sense.
So that doesn't help. It doesn't help answer the question.
He listed all these punk bands. No offense.
But yeah. I mean, Hemingway. I've read. And Dr. Joseph's. But yeah. What were you saying, PJ? About Pablo's?
Yeah, Pablo's. You ate there, you said?
I did.
Were the burgers as big as your head?
They were bigger than my head. I don't have a 2-pound head. I never weighed, but they were fucking huge.
5 pounds.
And,
not as big as my head?
Yeah. There's a scene in there where Pablo says, I cut it off because I didn't know a few people here. But now I'm like, you know what? I'll read where Pablo... now I'm like, who cares? But I'll tell you where Pablo modeled, and this was the real guy. I modeled.
Down there?
He might be dead. I don't know. His shop, his restaurant's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And was Pablo a surfer?
He was. Legit? Yeah. So those pictures of him on the wave, those were real. And but yeah, they asked him. I skipped over that one, where they ask him when they bring it out, and he says, "You weren't lying when you say as big as your head." Jake said, I don't lie. I stretch the truth on occasion, but I don't lie. 2 pounds of beef like my cock. And he held both hands over Sanchez's burger, fingers spread. See this here? It takes me 2 hands to jerk off with. It's molded after me. So you want us to picture your dick while you're eating, Jake asked? No, you're on your own with that, Sanch said. And he bit into the burger. Pablo said to Jake, you can think of my dick while you eat if you want. So, I know that's what you wanted to hear that. So, that's how the burger is as big as his head. Apparently he thought it would have been really cool if he built burgers. Because they were 2 pounds, but they weren't shaped like a burger. They were actually long. And they were like a hoagie bun. And they were really good burgers. And but yeah, I didn't weigh them. He said they were 2 pounds. I didn't see his cock either. He said it was 2 pounds.
Chuck, let me ask you. We've talked about this thing as you were working on it, at least for the last few years. But character development wise, is there a process to developing these characters? I know that they're loosely based on folks that you may know, folks that you're traveling with. How do you come up with these guys?
I just change their names so that people aren't offended when they're like, this sounds a lot like me. They're like, wait, this sounds like things I might have said. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. No, I mean it is. It's and I think every writer can agree that it's basically just a mix of people you met, and then you invent out of that. It's scenes that may have happened. It's embellished. To help. Like you have to create this a story arc. Like the nonfiction version of it, there was no story there. I mean, it didn't exist. So I had to create things that I saw happen, and then create a story after that. I had to find the story that took place, and then invent out of that. And I truly, every writer does that. It's all loosely based on reality. Because I mean, if it wasn't, it would. I mean, if you have nothing to base it on, then nobody's going to understand what the hell you're talking about. It's just, so it's got to be brought down to a understandable, relatable figure. So, did that answer your question?
Remotely.
Well, luckily you're not.
So
the Jonathan, but.
Well, what is the arc then that you like? Because if I could be critical, like pretend we're at a literary conference here or something, or a bookstore, and somebody has to say something critical.
Like, what was I attempting?
Well, because here's what I got. There were these 2 awesome kids that I knew from Pace or local dudes sitting around getting drunk, getting high, and then this road trip to Costa Rica, and then they just spin. Going to the beach, back to the bar, beach, back to the bar, women, bar, beach, bar. They just they're spinning their wheels, and I'm thinking, where's this going? Like they're partying their asses off. Like I was in the Pacific coast of Mexico, partying my ass off back then too. But it was like I didn't see anything happen. And then what made you what was the arc you saw? So this kid from Alabama goes to Costa Rica, and then what? Like, what made you think something has to snap him off the beach?
Right,
off the beach in Costa Rica, and
that was perfect right there. Is what you're saying, right? Like you found the epitome of paradise, right?
Right, right.
You're drinking, you're smoking, you're meeting women. Like, why aspire to anything more? Right.
You could have had this whole 60s I'm just gonna chill out. A lot of Americans I met down there were like that. There were expats from the Vietnam War and they were just gonna chill.
Why is that not enough?
Yeah, they were just gonna chill forever on a
cocoa
field on the beach.
For some people, that is enough. Yeah. And for a lot of the characters in this book, that was enough. But for Sanch, it wasn't. I mean, it was. He felt that there was something more, hopefully to life than just the you know, just reaching the epitome of pleasure. You know, he felt that there was something more for him to do. You know, it wasn't yeah.
It was more than defeating the id.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was hard to stray away from that. And I got wrapped into that part of the book, and I was like, why don't we just continue this on forever?
Right.
Like you
opera series.
Yeah, you've reached you know the pinnacle of
Yeah.
awesomeness.
But I guess the one character represents that dude.
Right.
Yeah. So Sanch and
Jake.
Yeah, Jake
they're
is
kind
like
of foils, right?
Right. Jake could hang there forever, and Sanch, had to get off the beach, I guess. Yeah.
I'm stuttering around because I'm trying not to give away.
I know.
So I mean, we can have this conversation after.
Yeah, me too.
Jake's still there.
Got to read the book to really know.
Right.
That's your
Yeah, buy the book.
Yeah, so just finishing my book, I guess I'm more interested in some of the mechanics behind it in terms of like when, you know, at what, you know, how many times did you lay it down and for how long? And the book,
like
and
the
never
manuscript, put it away?
walk away from it and then pick it back up. And I'm also interested in how big did it become, or how small was it, and did you feel like you had to expand it, or did you feel like you had to reduce it to be what it is now?
Yeah, I really did my best to reduce it. Like I said, this was one of those stories where I got really wrapped into the fun of it, you know, and so my goal was like to narrow it down to a story, you know, and not just get wrapped into the drinking and the drugs and the sex and then like how do you tell the story? So I did end up cutting out this. I don't even know. I think when the first draft was huge. Like I said, you had asked how long I wrote it for like 15 years. So I mean, it was like this big, and then I had to reduce it to like.
Did your editor do that, or did you do that?
No, I kept it. It took. I went through about 7 drafts before somebody was like, "Yeah, well I think we can sell it." Yeah. It was 76 rejections before somebody
76.
said
Wow.
yes. You know, because there's not really a market for. It's like how do you? They're like, you know, is there vampires in it? No. Is it a series? You know, is the characters continuing on? And I was like, no, I'm done with these guys. Like I never want to see these guys again.
Did you end up watching that movie Genius?
I did not. It's not on Netflix.
Oh.
You lied to me. I think it's.
I didn't say it was on Netflix. No, that's a good story about somebody who had a huge surgery.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to tell a story, and you know, and keep it quick. You know, I wanted it to. I didn't want the reader to ever get bored. I wanted it to be where every scene was. What was your initial question? I lost.
Well, I think I was.
Process.
How many times did you set it aside?
Yeah. So the from the first draft until I decided that I could probably make a story out of it. So yeah, I set it aside for probably like 4 years where I never even looked at it. I just gave up on it. Luckily now though we have computers that we can store things on. You know, back in the day we would have typed it up and we could have easily burned it and just got rid of it. But this one, I would continue writing and then I would see it in this file that I had of, you know, uncompleted manuscripts, and then every once in a while I click on it like that story, and then finally I was like, you know, I'll tell you what happened was my daughter was born, and I decided that now how am I gonna tell her to reach for her goals? You know, like how am I gonna convince her to go for things and I'm not doing it? So I made a decision that when she was born that I was gonna reopen this manuscript and try to do something with it. I wasn't gonna give up on it. And,
Well, I think that, I mean, one of the things that I think when I'm trying to process what I went through too as well is that at some point you do make a decision. It's like, you know, it's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do.